Hey runners, so I promised some monthly updates with my Houston Marathon training. I think I'm a little behind, but October just wrapped up. So this is basically the October update of the Houston Marathon training block. Everything's going really, really well. So lots to talk about there. And yeah, just let me know what you guys are training for. What's the weather like there? We've got, if you guys hear crunching leaves, oops, I'm literally sitting on a bunch of fallen crunchy leaves right now, but it's a beautiful day today. I think we're like at a high of 70. So still awesome running weather. It's definitely getting to that like up and down, very, very cold mornings though. I've been heading out in the dark for some runs with friends, and those are obviously very cold, and midday's nice. So, anyway, I think the biggest thing that happened in October was that I raced a half marathon with my husband, and I had talked to my coach. So, we went in with a plan of trying to hit marathon pace basically, and she said she would be thrilled if I could hit marathon pace in this half marathon this early in the cycle. And the way my brain was thinking was I better be able to hit marathon pace. But honestly, with the foot issues that I've had and just trying to nurse that, figure that out, I really did go into the race with trying to have few real expectations, but I would be lying if I would say they weren't there at all. That's just not my personality. So I really did go into it being like, okay, I want to hit marathon pace, at least my marathon pace in my marathon from last year, my best marathon of CIM, which would be an 8:06. So that was kind of what was hanging out in my head. But I also just wanted to run a smart race more than anything and take care of my foot. And if I felt like there was any pain at any time by trying to pick up the pace, that I would stop, knowing that this was not the A race. So really my husband and I we started running together and trying to kind of maintain, I don't know, an 8:15 pace, but honestly, I wasn't even looking at my watch. I was really just running by feel. He was giving me updates at the mile, but I had my watch turned to just the time or heart rate or something else. And yeah, it just felt really smooth, really comfortable. And that was the goal. And so about mile 5 is kind of where I started to make a decision about what I wanted to do, pick this up. Like at that point, I'm like, yes, I know I'm going to hit marathon pace. I would like to see, what's going to happen if I race a little bit, push harder. What can I do here at this point? So, did just start slowly picking up the pace at the turnaround a little bit more. Still not really moving into that racing type mindset, but just kind of hanging out in like a tempo. And I was running behind these guys for a little while and just letting them pace me a little bit. They were really running smooth and just at a pace that felt comfortable but challenging, I should say. And then I finally made my move 4 to 5 miles to go and just really turned it on, what I would call racing, pushing it, finishing hard, and really excited about the outcome. And I only finished about a minute off my half marathon PR, so I was ecstatic about that. And as I was going through, I'm like, I just have to tell my runners that, this is the perfect example of, starting out easy, being conservative in the beginning, and making up a lot of time. Even in a half marathon, you can make up so much time in the second half if you conserve energy early on. It's the smartest way to go about it. I had a pretty big discrepancy between what my early miles were and my end miles were, like 30 seconds between. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend that, but just that you really can make up a lot of time, and even more so in the marathon. So if you're running a race like that, half or full, just remind yourself of that. It's a long ways. If you conserve energy, you can make up a lot of time. So with that was kind of seeing how my foot was going to do, and I really felt pretty fine the next day. And just a little quick update is that I did end up seeing a podiatrist. It was pretty clear that he wanted to just do an MRI to really get in there and figure out more what was going on. I felt pretty confident that it wasn't anything structurally, if that makes sense, issue, that I felt like it was something that I could work out. Having worked my PT, that yeah, I needed to strengthen it, that I needed to get to the root of the problem. Essentially, there was something missing in my strength of why it was happening. So I've basically been seeing my PT and really thrilled with the way things have been going. I've been doing really hard speed work, hard marathon pace sessions, which I'll get into here in a little bit, and Nothing is getting worse. I would say it's feeling pretty good. I told my PT yesterday, it just doesn't feel like anything beyond normal marathon training. It's just, it's a tough sport and there's always kind of things going on, and overall I just feel really really good. Yeah, so with the PT too, just exercises, but also I've been doing dry needling with electric stimulation. I think that that's helped. So guys, I know it gets expensive. In fact, I'm not going to see my PT now for a few weeks just because I can't keep going every single week. And at this point, I've got what I need and I need to put it into practice myself at home. But I just cannot recommend enough working with a PT. Whatever you have going on, they will help you strengthen the areas that you need so that you're getting to the root of the issue and not just putting a band aid on it. Sometimes those band aids are okay if you have a big race coming up. But essentially, if you want to be a lifelong runner, you have to strengthen your weak areas. So a little update on working with a coach. So my coach, Sarah, I will put her info below if you guys want to follow her. Where she's most present is on Instagram. But it's been great working with her. I guess we're a couple months in at this point. And yeah, I would say on my end, just felt like a little bit of growing pains just because I'm pretty used to being in control of my training and making the decisions for myself. It was definitely, giving it over to someone else to make those decisions was hard. And I think that that's just normal that I was going to feel that way. I'm just so much more into trusting the process now. And I think that just kind of comes down to her getting to know where I'm at as a runner, me getting to know how she operates as a coach. And also with my foot issue, just, her needing communication from me about what I was ready for. And so on our last call, that's what happened. And it's just been really awesome since then. Super thrilled with what I'm doing, with what she's having me do. It's definitely not the type of training that I would be giving myself. And so that's exactly what I need. I need someone to challenge me. And I really think of it as professional development too. I know it's making me a better coach all around. Her coach is Nell Rojas, who was the first American at the Boston Marathon this year in 2022. So she's, learning from an elite herself. And so I just think it's, trickling down basically. And so I love to be able to offer that, and just, yeah, there's not one right way. Like, yes, there's absolutely best practices and staying within those, but otherwise there's always something more to learn. And I'm all about, getting better and better at my craft and what I do and helping my runners in the best way that I can. So that's a great part of it as well. So I'll give you guys a little glimpse into the training that I'm doing. So I'm going to pull up my Final Surge, which that's nice that it's integrated in Final Surge, the training that I do, because that's what I use with my athletes. Just basically came in working with her in kind of the low 30s miles per week, and then bumped it up to close to 40, and now easily in the low to mid 40s now, going into November. So the way that I have the training structured is pretty much exactly the same as when I was doing it in terms of the 6 days a week that I run. So if you guys have watched a lot of my videos, you maybe know this is already how I train, but essentially I do, if we're starting with Sunday. So Sunday is a recovery run. Monday is my long run. Tuesday is another recovery run. Wednesday is my rest day. My speed workouts, quality sessions are always on Thursdays. I have another recovery run on Friday, and then Saturday is like turning into kind of a medium long run day. And she has strides built into some of the easy runs, the recovery runs. So yeah, it's really focused on that 80-20 running that I always talk about, 80% easy, 20% hard, and really maximizing the workouts and making them super, super challenging on my speed work days on that Thursday. And then, yeah, I always follow up with a recovery run after the hard effort. So she does that exactly the way that I plan it for my athletes as well. But so like last week before, I guess I should say, she had me do 10 by 400s on the track. And yeah, just really, really challenging short interval work. And that's kind of something new for me being marathon training. I think she's doing that since it's kind of earlier on, and she's trying to help me build up my speed because she knows that I have a big goal for the marathon. And then just kind of bumping that up the next week. You can just see a progression here, 6x600s, and their progressions also. So it's just challenging to make the first one slower and the last one's faster. That's something that I'm working on. I can really do that well in like a tempo, mile repeats, but the shorter ones is something that I'm really learning. So again, it's like a weak spot for me. So I like that she's giving that to me, just kind of pushing the envelope. And I know that's what it's all about, strengthening my legs. This definitely was a leg burner. And then next week, I have 8x800 meters, and the times that she's given me, so you guys can see them here. These are the times. I'm looking at the fast ones, just thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but you know what? I know that she wouldn't give it to me if she didn't think I could do it, and that's what it's all about. Yeah, it really takes it to a new level when you have a coach that's pushing you and watching what you're doing, the accountability piece, and that's the feedback that I get from my runners as well. So just being on the other end of that, yeah, I'm just kind of learning about what it's like to be in their shoes too. So all around, it's just been such a positive experience. And then really proud of my run yesterday. It was a 16-mile progression. And this is just a perfect example of when you hear people say, like, run the mile you're in, especially, in a long distance, either a long run or event. You might be feeling like junk earlier on and then feel great later. And so if you start, thinking about, oh my gosh, how's this going to feel later? I already feel terrible. Like, you really just got to focus on getting through that 1 mile. If you're doing a speed session, if it's already feeling challenging, just figure out how to get through that one. Then it's time to figure out the next one. Don't worry about it till that one comes. But this was 6-mile warm up, so mostly in the 10s there, a couple 9s, and then I had to do moderate pace, which was supposed to be 8:15 to 8:45, I think. Quite a few hills in there. I missed one. They just felt hard. Like, I just kept saying to myself, I don't know how I'm going to hit marathon pace. These already feel hard at this moderate pace. But yeah, again, just got to get there. And honestly, I just got in a rhythm. It felt smooth. It felt efficient. And I was supposed to do 7:50 through 8, and I was able to hit all of them, and then some on a little bit. I wasn't necessarily trying to go faster or anything than the 7:50. It just sort of ended up working out that way. I felt good. But yeah, today for my recovery run was super, super easy pace. My legs were so dead and so tired. And that is exactly what the recovery run is usually like, and that's why you take it as slow as you need. And just knowing that you need to get that active recovery in and get your legs moving, get your muscles, ligaments, joints, all of those moving after that hard effort. And then I'm definitely looking forward to my rest day tomorrow. And then guys, just as far as coaching, it's just been such a fun and busy month, October. I knew it was going to be that way. This whole year has just been incredible in terms of the growth for coaching, and I couldn't wait for fall racing season. And yeah, lots of PRs and just lots of growth. People running first marathons, which has been amazing. I love working with first-time marathoners, and like getting to feel the experience through them is so cool. And then I have a couple more first-time marathoners this weekend who will be running NYC. I have another runner doing Indy, and then just lots more to come in 2022. So I'm actually full right now with coaching, but I have a wait list going, and it's not too long yet. So if you guys are interested in perhaps coaching coming up, either the end of this year or even beginning of next, I even have some people already reaching out for spring and things like that, just so they can get on the list. Definitely reach out, or if you have questions, I'll put my coaching page below, and that's where you guys can contact me. So I'm going to leave you guys with a takeaway. It's just been a common theme among my runners who I've been talking to, and it's just, don't forget how far you've come. I mean, I have a handful of runners who basically just started running in the last year, beginning of this year, just barely, and they are running half marathons, full marathons. My runner who ran Chicago as her first marathon, yeah, we were talking this morning. She basically was saying, I can't believe it. Like, I just started running this year. And of course, we talked about, like, there's so much more to come for her, and that's so exciting. And yeah, just being able to look back on all of that, because sometimes we get so hung up on what's the next goal, what's the next goal, what's the next goal. And last little story on that note is I have a 72-year-old runner. He is insanely fit and healthy, obviously, because he was training for a marathon. But I went back and reread his intake form about him wanting to do the marathon, and basically him just saying it's going to take a lot of work, it's going to take a lot of commitment, and he's not sure he can do it, but he's sure going to try. And I talked to him about that right before his marathon, and just talking about how I knew he was ready. And this past weekend, he ran his first marathon at the age of 72, the Marine Corps Marathon. It's just such a good reminder to all of us that it's never, never too late to follow your dreams, try something new. And you don't have to be a part of the status quo. Like, it is not normal to run a marathon at 72, but man, I sure hope that's what I'm doing at 72. I'm so inspired by him. Hope you guys are inspired by that story too.